Alright guys, I've started recording it. So this is our program that we wrote. Okay, so let me just run the index file. Alright guys, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, this is the index page. So users are required to log in, use their username and password. So if you are not yet a registered user, you can click register. You'll be required to fill in the form. Okay, let's create a new user. Let's say Stanley. First name Stanley. Last name Stanley. Address CIU. Phone number. Email. Let's equally use Stanley as password. Okay, so if we click registered, to tell you registration successful. Why is it delaying? Let me check my
Is
local
it okay?
server is still connected.
Is the local host is open?
Yeah,
Okay,
it's
okay.
open. Okay, registration successful. It's called my RAM, so I put a lot for application. My system is slow. Now to take you to the home page. Now you can log out using this icon. If you log out, let's just log in with the new user we created, which is Stanley. Password Stanley as well. Login successful. Okay. Now the aim of the project is to repair, sell, and rent. You can access that very page using this button, or you can pass through the menu here. Click on service. We have rent, repair, we have sell. Now if you click on
Hello?
Please
yeah,
mute you. Yeah. Thank you. Mute
uh,
your mic. Who's this? Who is this guy? What
Is
is
this
his
making
name?
the noise? Can you reduce the this thing?
I think
Maybe off
someone
your this thing.
the mic here.
Okay. Okay.
Just off your mic. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, back guys. From the service
Okay.
menu, you can rent, repair, and sell. Now, if you click on rent, it will take you to the page where you have list of computers, different computers. You select the one you need. This is Toshiba products. If you click on it, to take it to the page. To bring out the information about the Toshiba, the user will have to fill in his or her information. If you want to rent, you click rent. If you don't need this product, you want to go back, you click go back. This was what Ibrahim was saying yesterday. I just added this
Okay.
button this morning.
Okay. So, but it's the submitted is finished.
The one we submitted is not in the button. Now, if we want to present, Dr. Mary will not upload the one we submitted. She will tell us to run the one in our system.
Okay.
Yeah, since I will be the one to do the presentation, I will upload this very one. So everybody will explain from my slide here. So if you click this go
Okay.
back, it will take us back. Can select any other product of your choice. So what is left from this page, the user will just have to put his or her information, address, say CIU, phone number, email. Is HP Pavilion. We click on rent. Say congrats, you have successfully rented a computer. It will now refer you back to the home page. And those information you just filled will go to database. So the system admin don't need to go to the database. So from this very system, admin can view all the customers that just registered and those that want to rent, repair or sell. From this admin portal here, if you click, it will require a passcode. We manually created different passcode on our database. One of the code is group 4, lowercase, just write group 4, enter. So your access granted successfully. From here, system admin can view all the registered users. Just click refresh to bring out all the names. We created a new user called Stanley during the registration. Now for rent, we click rent just to refresh. A new user called Stanley made a request for rent. So likewise, sell and repair. Okay. Now let's go back to the service. If you want to rent, if you want to repair, yeah, just click on repair. As a customer, you have a bad computer you want to repair. So what you need to do is to upload an image of the computer. Okay, let's just upload any image. Okay. Let's assume this is an image of a computer. What is left, the customer will have to give a brief description of the computer. Let's say it's HP products, 64 bits. Just give brief information, that's all. Then if you click finish, the information will go to database also. So the system admin will be able to see the information you entered. Okay, to tell you product repair notification successfully sent. To now refer you back to the home page. So you can equally do the same thing for sell. If a user or a customer has a computer to sell, all you need to do is to notify the company. Just browse the image of the computer.
But if a customer wants to sell a laptop,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, customer wants to sell a laptop. You have to upload the image of the laptop you want to sell.
Okay, for people to see and buy.
Yeah,
Okay.
for people to see and buy. Yeah. Then you have to state the product's name. Let's say it's HP. Then the price you want to sell it in dollar, say it's $300.
Yeah.
Then give a product description. Say it's 64 bits
Description of the okay.
of the lab of the computer, the bits, the RAM, let's say 3 GB. Just give information about the computer. Then about yourself as well, you have to state your information. Let's say it's Stanley that wants to sell. Then phone number of Stanley. Then Stanley's email. That's it. Then you click finish. Product say notification successful. So this information will go to database also. Let's go back to the admin and view those informations we just entered. Group 4. Okay. Now for rents, the last was Stanley, which is this. For sale, it was Stanley also. Then for repair, it was Stanley. Now, the same way this information appear here, that's how they will call it appear in the database. Let's go to our database. Right, scroll down a little bit. Let me log in. Now, our database name is computer. Now, in our computer database, we have 5 different tables. We have table for admin, table for customers, rents, repair, and sell. Now, this customer takes all the information from new registered users. If a user should register newly, all the information will appear here. This information you are seeing here, they are here also. So we created a new user called Stanley. Let's open it. Now this is Stanley. It appeared at the bottom. Okay. Now the IDs we have here 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now if we go to the program we wrote, it's exactly the same thing, the way it appeared here. That's how it appeared inside the program. Now let's go back to the program and see. For the registered users, let's refresh. So you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, exactly the way it appeared. Likewise for rents, let's go back to our rents. Yeah, there's rents. Okay, these are the information we have about rents. So everything that appeared here equally appeared inside our program. Yeah. So the aim of the project is to rent, repair, and sell. Then for about us, which is this, we have 5 in number, myself, Sanam, Ibrahim, Stanley, and Ahmed. Okay. Now let's go to the code. This program that is opened is for the index page. Now in our system, let me log out to take us to index page. Now the items you are seeing here, the home, service, and about us, you can design it using JMenu or JButton, but they must be placed inside JMenu bar. This is the JMenu bar. This red line is JMenu bar up to this home. So any items that want to appear here must be placed inside JMenu bar. Okay. Now in our code, I declare the JMenu bar, which is this. Okay. Now the home, services, and about that you seen, this I use JButton. I want to add products to it, of which I didn't bother adding it to the frame. There was no need since service is already there. So in your program, you notice there is products. So it didn't show any effects in the program. I didn't add it to the work, although it was initiated at this very place. Even when you remove it, it still make no difference. Okay. Now I use JButton, but you can still use JMenu. Now every write-up you see, like this admin only passcode, any write-up you see, you use JLabel. Okay, then these images, you use image icon. Then any field that will require you to type is JText field. Okay, but for the password, you notice the password does not show the information you typed. It's because we didn't use JText field, we used JPassword field. So that the password you typed in will show in, it will display as star star star. It will not display the numbers or the text you typed in. Okay, now for this information about us, I use JCheckBox.
JPanel also, you should talk about the JPanel.
Okay, I'm coming. Let me show you the checkbox. Okay, this is it. JCheckBox. I declared it within the constructor. I can remove them and take them upward. I can remove them and declare them here at this axis. Okay, instead to run is the same thing, but I declare them here. So the information you see here, this is the results. Okay, guys. Now this blue design you are seeing here, this blue design, I use JPanel. Okay, JPanel. Now to make, I don't know if those of you attended Professor Chelebi's lectures before the class was divided. He explained much about this JPanel, more especially if you are using flow border instead of using no. Our border layout is no, but if you are using flow layout, and you want certain information to be together, you have to declare a JPanel and put those information into one particular panel. Now, this panel you're seeing that I declared here, different panel. Okay, this is the results. This blue that you are seeing here. There are 4 different panels. The one on the left hand side, the one at the top, the one on the right, then the one on the bottom. Likewise, this for the login. Okay, you have to set the bounds, declare the x axis, the y, the width and the height. Okay, now let me alter something. Now you see the change that will appear. Okay, like this JPanel, it started from this 4 JPanel. From here to this point, from here to this point is another panel. Here to here is another panel. Now for this is the x axis 590, this is the y axis 470, this is the width which is 5. Okay, this is the height. Now this width which is 5, let's change it to 200 and see it will alter the program. This is what we have initially. Okay, just take notes. Now let's run it again and see. It affected everything here. The 200 is too large. Let's reduce it so that you understand what I'm trying to say. Let's say 30. And you observe that the width has increased. Let's take it back to 5. It's back to normal. Now if you want to shift it out, we'll alter it using the x-axis. The x-axis here is 590. Let's change it to 500. Let's see the results. This is it has moved backward. Okay. The reason why we use this set bound is because the layout we choose is non-layout. That's why we kept using this set bound. This set bound will help you to position your object in the particular place you choose. Okay, guys. Now the main work.
Yes.
Let me
So you
log.
want
Yeah.
yeah. The first x and y are the position, and the second x and y are the width and height.
Yeah. This first one is the x. This
Yes.
is the y. This is the width.
This is also x.
Yeah. Why this is the
And this
height.
is the
Yeah.
okay.
Now let's log in. Now you can log in using this portal, or there's still another login page. Okay, if you click this login, it will take you to that other login page. So it's two ways to access it. Now let group 4. Group 4. Login successful. Okay. Now, like I explained earlier, this red line here, this is the J menu bar. So all the items you see in the J menu bar, you can use J button or you can use J menu. Now for this home page, I use J menu. The home is J menu, the service is J menu, about us is equally J menu. Okay. Now all the items within the service menu are J menu items. J menu items. Now let me open the home page, the code. This is it. For the J menu, this is the main menu bar itself. Okay. Now we have home. Home we use J menu. Service we use J menu as well. Okay. About us, which is this. About us we use J menu. Okay. Now all the items within the service menu here, everything inside here, we use J menu item. These are the items. We use J menu item. Okay. Now the listener we implemented for our work, we use action listener and mouse listener. Image respond to mouse listener, but button menu they respond to action listener. Like this logout icon, it responds to mouse listener. So if you are
You
implementing
said
it,
image respond to what?
what you say?
You said image respond to what?
They respond to mouse listener, mouse listener.
Okay.
While J menu, J button, they respond to action listener. Now to the listener itself, if you look at our work, we have so many listeners in this very page. We have the logout icon, which is an image. We have about us. We have home. Within service, we have rent, repair, sell, admin. Okay. They will probably have this repair button, it's a J button. We have sell. We have rent. Now all these we created separate listener for each of them. And to create listener for each of them, you use the name you declared for them. Like this logout, it's an icon. You use image icon. The image icon must be embedded within JLabel. So this label icon that we named here, we use label logged out. That's the name. Now if you scroll down, let's search for the label icon. This is label log out. Okay. We use add mouse listener. Now within this very listener, we have to declare these two code. If you click on that listener, what action do you want the mouse to perform for you? In our case, we want the mouse to refer us back to the index page. That's why we declare this group 4 index. This group 4 index is the name of the class for our index page. So we must always add this new to it. Okay, so that once you click on that logout, it will now redirect you to the index page. After which it will dispose the old frame. If you don't dispose, more than one frame will be open, which is a bad practice. Now, if we remove this now, first of all, let's log out. If you click log out, now at the bottom of my screen here, you observe it's just one frame that is open. Now, if we log out, it will take us back to the index page. And the bottom here is still one frame that is open. The reason is because we always dispose. Anytime we'll redirect or we'll link to another page, we'll dispose the old page. If you want to dispose, this is the code to dispose. It's very simple. Okay, now let's log out again. First of all, let's remove this dispose. We've comment the dispose, so it's no longer effective in the program. Let's run it again. Now you observe we just have one frame. Now if we log out now, it will refer us to a new index page. But since the dispose is not there, we'll now be having more than one frame open at the same time. Let's log out now. Let's click this log out to redirect us to the index page. Now if you observe here, we now have two frames that are open. Can you guys see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you must always dispose. Now within each listing now, you have to decide what you want that button to do for you. Now let's go to our major focus is the rent, repair and sell. For the rent, when you click on any image to bring out the information about that image, and let me open the code for the rent. This is the rent. And don't forget, this is Java. What we did, we used Professor Chelebi's methods. Java comes with default JFrame. So we just extended to the default JFrame. But in the method that Mary always use, she always declare a new frame. Okay. Then we implemented action listener and mouse listener. So for those that followed up with Chelebi's class, I believe you understand this part. Okay. Now in our rents, these images, of course, I got them from the internet. They are reduced the size. Now this Toshiba, this information you are seeing here, this design came from Sana. I've studied the code here. This information you see here, you can still use JLabel to do it. It will work very fine. But in this very case, they use HTML to design it. This the HTML code. So if you have an idea about HTML, this is very easy for you to understand. Okay, this information you see in here for this Toshiba, what you see in here, this is the results. This is the results. And the price that was stated there is $339.99. If we go and alter it, this is it. Let's change it to, let's say, $555.00. If we run it now, the price will change in the program because we've already altered it. This is it. Okay. Now if you click on any of this image, it will now refer you to a new frame, and also while referring you, it will pick this information along. Okay, this was the major concern of Sana. She wants the work to be dynamic, not static. Because when I did it the first time, I made it static. Yeah. Now, if you click on this Asus computer, for example, to take you to a new page, it will bring all the information about the Asus. So the customer will know what he or she wants to rent. Then you have to fill in your information. Then you can go back as well. This came from Ibrahim yesterday. Although this button is not inside the work I submitted, or it's not a problem. You can go back, select any computer of your choice. Okay, you can go back as well. Likewise, for the repair and the sell, this page for repair. Let me open the repair code.
Napoleon, you said for the rent also you will add.
Yeah, I can hear you.
You said you will add the names when rent.
Yeah, let me run it again for the rent. Okay, let me show you. I added those information I told you. Once I run it, you see them. That's for sale. Okay, let me run the codes for sale. If you want to sell, you browse the image. Okay, you state the product name, the price, the product description, then the customer first name, last name, phone number, and email. Okay, guys. Now, I just observe something now based on what you just said. Last time we were concerned about this sale, that we need to add the customer's information so that the admin will know which customer that wants to sell which product. So we are supposed to do the same thing for repair. Now let's go to the repair. The repair will just tell you to upload your image, the description, but don't have information about the customer. So we are supposed to add it. So maybe what I'll do, I'll just modify it so that it will look just like this cell, that it will require information about the customer. Since during our defense, we will be the one to upload the one we have in our system. She won't upload the one we submitted. Okay, we'll be the one to run the one we have. So I will make an amendment to it, add the customer name, phone number, and email to it. Okay, guys.
But uh, maybe she will do like Prof.
I can't hear you.
I mean, maybe she will do like Prof. Nat. She will project because you will present.
I can't
You
hear
will
you. My
start to
network
present.
is
You will
bad.
control the present.
Okay, you feel she will upload it, then you will be controlling it.
Yes, but I mean, you will modify another project different than what you uploaded already.
Okay, if that's the
I mean,
case, if she uploads the one we submitted in her own system and make us to control it, it's still the same, no problem.
okay.
No problem. Yeah, but I'll modify this and send it back to the group.
Okay, good.
I'll just add the customer, I'll just add the new test feed and the JLabel for the customer name, first name, last name, phone number, and email. That's it. Okay, guys. Now for the repair, which is this. This is the code. Let me close the frame and open. Let me rerun it. This is it. Now this file, this name you see in here, like I said, every text you see, likewise this product description, we use JLabel. Okay. This place where you can type in, we use JTextFeed. Likewise this, you can equally use JTextArea for this. Okay, if you want to make it scrollable so that when there are enough text inside, it will be able to scroll. Okay, you can scroll up, scroll down, just like that. You have to now implement the JScrollPen. Chelebi explained that as well. I will show you the code now.
Shall we explain a lot?
Yeah, he explained a lot. This is the scroll. Okay. Now this text area you are seeing here, this is the JTextArea. We use JTextArea. Now, for you to be able to browse and choose which file you want to select, you use this file chooser. Okay, Chelebi equally talked about it, but I can't remember if he did any example, but he talked about it here.
I don't remember this. Jalebi did? I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that very day was just very brief. He didn't talk much about it. Yeah. So anything that wants to appear on the frame, you must add it within the constructor. And the constructor, the name to use for the we use in the constructor, which is before, is always the same with the class name. Then likewise, this void method is the class name, which is this. Now this can be anything. Okay, it can be any name, doesn't matter. If it does not declare, let me take it back home. Up. If it does not state this method within this default void that comes with it, if it does not state anything here, your program will not run. It will not display any results. If you click run, it will not display any frame. Okay guys, you've clicked run, it did not show any frame. So at the public static void main, okay, you must declare the void method here. Also, even when you declare it here within the constructor, if you don't set visible to be true, it will not run. If we run it now, it will run to display the frame. Okay. Now, if we remove this set visible, let's comment it. If we try to run it, it will not run. It will not show any frame. It will run, but the frame will not appear because it's not visible. Okay. Now, also, if you observe our frame, we cannot expand it further. We can't maximize it. If you try to enlarge the frame, it will not work. You can't maximize. This is because I use this very statement, set resizable. I made it false. Okay, if we should comment it now, we're able to maximize our frame. It will mess the beautification up. Now we can maximize now, it will work, but the design will look very ugly. Okay, we can enlarge it to any size. It won't be looking beautiful. That's why in every program I always set this resizable to be false, of which the layout we use is non-layout. The size is 900 by 700. You can use set size, or I use set minimum size to still give you the same results. The set default operation, exit on close, the set title, of which Chelebi explained all this, set location relative to none. Now the background, this was what I used to make the background gray color, which is get context pane dot set background. The color is gray. So if we change this color to, let's say, green.
White.
Okay, let's say white. Let's see. It will change the output. The background is now white. Okay, so let's return it back to gray. Let's run it again. Yeah, this it is back to normal. Okay. So guys, like I said, the aim of the project according to the instruction she gave is to rent, sell and repair. Rent, sell, repair. This is the aim. So I wanted to implement the payment gateway so that after you've placed an order to rent, you can make payments. But the program I was writing did not work very well, so I just removed it completely since it was not needed in the work. We are not implementing a complete full design, a full system, so I just removed it. So that's it. Yeah, the major thing is just to understand the code and know the effects of each code, the contribution of the code to the program itself. So for those that don't actually understand it very well, I will advise you just go through each code. You can alter each of the value one after the other, then you run it and see the results, compare it to the former results you have. And also you can make some a comment. If you make anyone a comment, if there is no error message, when you run it, it will not display on the screen. Because comment does not have any effect on the program itself. If you comment any program or any code, it's like you are muting it. It will not run. Okay.
Or you can also choose any code and Google, and you will understand the purpose from it.
Please repeat. The network is your sound. Your voice is breaking.
Oh, sorry. I was saying you can choose Google it to understand the main code from the from that code. In general, you will understand in general. That's why she asked if
I still can't hear you
I
clearly.
think our voice is echoing.
It's breaking.
okay. I will write later in the group if you didn't listen.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it. And one more thing, guys. If you observed in this menu items you are seeing here, this J menu, if you add them to the J menu by itself, they will add after each other: home, service, about us. There's this logout image, we come here. Now for you to put this space in between them, for this space to be there, what I did, the idea I used, I don't know if it's logical, but it was just the best idea I could think of. What I did was to declare a JMenu, then make it empty. I didn't type any text in the JMenu. So I just created enough space in the JMenu. The field where I was supposed to type a text, I just used the space button to create enough space. Let me show you the code. This is the home. Yeah, this is the home. Now, if you observe here, there's a menu. This is a JMenu. I named it menu space. Okay. Now, there's no text. Unlike this about us admin, I didn't write any text. If you look here, it's just empty. Okay, guys, it's just empty. I just created normal space. It's empty. I did it so that we're able to have enough space in between this logout image and about us. So I don't know if there's other way to do it, but this was the best idea that came to my head. So I just did it this way, and it worked very, very well. Okay. So if you log out, take you back. So I'd make her access
Uh,
the, yeah,
excuse,
yeah, speak.
about the database,
Yeah.
um, is there any code that we use to like link it? I don't know.
Those database within the program,
The PHP, right? That's what we're using, right? My PHP admin.
this is my PHP admin. This database you see here, once you, okay, let me demonstrate. If you want to create a new database now, what you need to do is to click on new. This is new.
Okay.
If you click on it, log out, let me log in again. Now, if you want to create a new database, just click on new. You're required to state the database name you want to create. We created computer. Let's call it Java. Then just click on create. Now, if you observe here, we now have a new database name called Java. But the database so far don't have any table. Now, to create a table, just click on the database you just created. You'll be notified if you want to create a table. You can see where they wrote create table. Here, just write the table name you want to create. Let's say users. Okay. Then the number of columns you need. If it's 4, 5, 6, okay, let's just say 6. Even when it's more than 6, you can later add column to it. Once you've written the name of the table you want to create, which is users, click on go to create the table. The table has been created. Now you have to declare the attributes within the table, like the ID, the user's first name, last name, address, phone number, email, just like that. Now, every table needs to have an ID, which is always a unique identifier, and the type is always integer. Let's say the length is 10. Okay. Then you must always make the ID auto incremental. To make it auto-incremental, look at this AI that is here. It means auto-incremental. If you click on this checkbox, you don't need to give an ID to any user. So once any user registered, automatically an ID will be created for that user. Now within this index here, you make this ID the primary key. Click on go. Is the primary key. Then you need to click on this checkbox so that whenever a new user registered, the ID that will be given to the users will keep increasing one after the other. Now what will be required from the users, we need their first name. Now when creating database, you cannot create a space. You have to join the words together, or you can use underscore. To join words together. You can't just create space between them. It will not work. Okay. Then likewise, you get the user's last name or the surname. Let's get their email. Let's get their phone number. Let's get their address. Okay, address, can use varchar. Then state the length. Let's say 40. The phone number, let's use varchar as well. The most phone numbers is not more than 11 digits or 12 digits. Let's say 11. Email, let's go use varchar. Some email is very lengthy. Yeah, email we can probably
Sorry,
use. Yeah.
um, not like it matters, but the phone number, I thought it's supposed to be integer.
If you use integer, it will work. Yeah, if you still use varchar, it will work as well. But the one we designed, I use varchar. I just want to explain it based on what we submitted.
Okay.
Yeah, it will work.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it will not work if you choose integer
If you type in the value,
because sometimes
yeah,
when we write a phone number internationally, we need to add 00 before the phone number. If you choose integer, the first zero play they will report.
okay, you know what? Let's put integer and practice it. Let's see the results. Okay, let's put integer. Then the last name, varchar. Let's give it the length of 30. First name, varchar. Let's still give it the length of 30. Okay, that's all. Then we click on save. At the bottom, the right hand side, you see save. Okay, if you click on save, it will automatically save the table we just created. Okay, you've created a new table. Let's browse it so it will appear very nice. We have the ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, address. Okay. Now from the yes, you want to ask a question? Now we can let's insert data into this very table we just created. From this place we can insert, there you see where they wrote insert. If you click on it, you'll be required to insert information. Okay, you don't need to bother about the ID. So when you are designing program, you will not create any column for ID for user in the program you write. You won't create any, you make provision for ID, but the system will automatically generate ID for users. Okay. Now let's say the first user's name, let's use Stanley, last name Stanley, email at CIU, the phone number. Okay, let's see. Okay, address. Please enter a value less than equal to. Okay, this was because we used integer. That was what Sana was saying. Okay, if we say we should continue, it will not work. It's an error because of the variable type we declared for phone number. Okay, it will not work. So we have to go back to the structure. For this phone number, if you click on this change, you're able to edit it. Okay, so this integer, let's change it to varchar phone number, then we save. Now let's insert again. Let's see, this time around it will accept phone number. Now first name, let's see, Stanley, last name Stanley, email Stanley. Now phone number 070. Okay, see, this time around I did not give any error message. If you click on go, the information will go to the table we just created. Okay, now browse, let's see. Now Stanley. You notice we did not state the ID, but the system automatically gave the first user ID 1. Okay, that's it for
Now show
database.
him how did you link
Yeah, within the program.
the database with the program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if you observe the table we created, the database we created is called computer. And the computer, we have different tables. We have admin, customer, rents, repair, sell. So once a new user registers, the information will come to the customers table. Now in our program, let me open registration before register. So when a new user wants to register, once you fill in your information, let me run it so that you see.
Yeah, excuse.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'm trying to find out, like, is there any code that I used to link
That's what I want to show from the program to the
the
database, right?
yes,
Yeah,
okay,
there's a program that will take all the information to the database. That's what I want to show you right now. Now, in
okay,
this
okay,
page for registration, once users fill this information, if you click on this J button, we wrote register. This is the action listener. It's within this action listener button that you write the code that will take all the information and insert them into the database. Now this J button called register, this is the button. Okay, registered. We named it BTN Reg, button register. I named it BTN Reg. Now let's scroll down to the listener. This is BTN Reg. It's action listener. Okay. Now we use try and cache. This code here will help you take the informations from the users. First of all, you have to state the class, your driver class. This code you can find it from the material Chelebi gave, equally the one Mary gave of recent. You find this code there. Okay. Now initially, I think the codes I saw there from the one Chelebi gave, there was no CJ there. So the Eclipse notified me that there was an error. I need to add this CJ to the driver. These are just steps. You must state these steps. Okay, this very step, this first three line, you must declare them. Now, if you observe very carefully, this connection that was declared here, now within this JDBC, the local host we used was 3306. Initially, I used 3308, so I noticed that the rest of you guys, your local server were running at 3306. So I had to go back and change my own to 3306. Then the database name, this is the database name. We created a database called computer. Okay, and our local server that we use, it has a username called root. It does not have a password. If there's a password, you have to type the password there. Okay. Now in this registration page, the information from user, we are sending them to a table called customers. Remember, in our database, we have a table called customers. Okay. Now each attribute in the database, let me open the customer. This is customer. In customer, we have customer ID, username. No need to state the customer ID within the program. Now the username, first name, last name, the way they appear here, exactly the way you wrote them here, that's how you write them in the program here. Username, first name, exactly the same way they were written. If you mistakenly alter anything here, maybe you change the uppercase if you change the uppercase to lowercase mistakenly, it will not work. Okay, you are inserting into customer table. These are the attributes exactly the way we wrote them in the database. You write them here as well, exactly the way they are. Now this value, these are just the procedure to get the values for each of these attributes. Okay, this is the method Java is using. If you look at Chelebase material and Mary material, you see this method there. Okay, now for this very part, these field names you are seeing here, these are the names we created for the JTest field. If a user wants to fill the form, this area where the user will have to type, they are JTest field. This area, we name them feed user, feed first, feed last. Let me show you in the code. This is it. Okay, we have feed user, we have feed first. Okay, don't make the mistake to use the label. If you use the label, it will not work because the user will type into the JTest field. This username here is label, this label, this is test field, this is the field. So it's the name you declare for the field that you implement right here, of which you understand the encapsulation which Shelley talked about, the get test, the set test. So let me not go into that. Now for this very part, starting from here, what I did is to prevent if user refuse to fill any of the field, maybe they omit their last name or they didn't fill any part. If they try to register, the system will tell them there is a field they need to fill. Okay, initially when I designed it, even when you did not fill any parts, it will tell you successful, registration successful. So Ibrahim told me it was not nice. So we created a condition for it. This was the condition I wrote using if and else. Okay, now before I started creating the condition, I had to declare a string. Okay, I converted what I did. I created a string called username, US name. Now it will get the tests from the feed. Okay, this feed dot get test. Any test that is typed into the feed, this will receive the test. Okay, this condition will not check. This condition, if the feed dot is empty, it will pop up this message saying username require. Now I use this is empty so that if a user should leave any field empty, if it's blank, if you try to register, it will not
Sorry.
work. It will tell you sorry, this field username is required. You can't leave it empty because of this condition we stated. Okay, so this if and else, I don't know the best way to explain it, but if you carefully study it, yeah, you understand what I did here. It's to make sure all feed are feed correctly. So if a user should leave any feed empty, he or she cannot register. Username require. Even when we type into username, let's say set, let's leave the first name empty. Let's say the last name is Stanley. Address CIU, phone number, email, passwords. Now if we try to register, it will not work because the first name is empty. We can't leave it. Users must fill that first name. Okay, to tell you first name required. Now if you fill the first name and leave, let's say, address, the address is empty. If you try to submit to register, it will not work. Tell you address required. Okay, even when you fill in address, let's say the email is not there, you try to register, to still tell you email required. So you must fill all the test fields. They are all important. You must fill them. So I use this if and else if to state the condition, to create the condition for it. So you can't leave any of the field empty. So what you see here from this very point down to this point, This was used for the condition you're saying that makes it impossible for a user to register if one or two fields are left empty. Okay, this is the condition. Now the connection to the database, this is the connection to the database. Okay, is the connection to the database. You don't need to memorize this. You can just save the code somewhere. So when you want to create any connection, just move them, just move this code. Then all you need to do is take note of the database name. This is the database name. Take note of it. Take note of the ports, which ports your local server is running at what ports. Take note of the ports. Then this is the table you want to insert information into. Take note of this table. Then these attributes you are seeing here, they must be the same exactly the way they appear in the database. Okay, exactly the way you wrote them in the database, that's how they will appear here. And this value, these are still standard procedure to follow. You must initiate this, they must appear like this. If you leave them empty or blank, the connection will not work. Okay, you don't need to know this. If you tell me to write this off head, I might make one or two mistakes. So what I did, I just saved this code somewhere. So when I'm writing it, if there's mistake anywhere, I make reference back to my code. So you don't need to, but there are so many things you need to know, you need to memorize. You just need to know them. Okay, but you can't know all the code in your head. Just like HTML, I created a code bank, so I just save a lot of code. When I'm doing any design, if there's a mistake anywhere, I can't fix it on my own. I go back to my code bank, go through them, and trace where the error is coming from.
Okay, I see this.
Yeah.
The code is in the which package? Is it my admin, Bible Core admin?
Your question is not clear.
The code you said we should take note of.
Yes, all this, like from this try, this code you are seeing here, this class dot for name, you don't need to memorize it. If
That's
not,
what
you
I'm
might,
asking.
yeah. These are default
There
way
are
of
different
writing the
packages.
code in Java. Yeah.
Okay, group 4 register. Okay, thank you. I've seen it.
Yeah, this is good for register. If a new user wants to register, same thing for cell. Don't forget cell, the information will still go to database. So it's still a similar code
Okay.
that I just showed you. Let me open it. This is it for cell. Okay, this time around we are not inserting into customer, we are inserting into cell.
Okay.
Yeah, same thing with repair. We are inserting into repair table. Okay, same thing for rent as well. Okay, the rent, this is it. It's the connection is right here. This is it. You are inserting into rent. So you don't need to memorize the code. Because if I'm doing a work for you now, and if I should write all these statements, this statement from my head, I will make one or two mistakes.
Yeah.
So what I did, I just have a place where I save a lot of codes. So once I'm writing, there's a mistake, I go back to my code and go through it. But this JLabel, JTest field, you need to understand them, know how to use them. They are very, very important. You don't need to memorize. So with regular study, once you practice all the time, you understand it. It's very easy to understand. And all these names you are seeing here, it can be anything. That was what Sana was telling me. I should always use the names that will be very easy so that when other programmers are going through the code, they will know what they represent. Yeah, I should use names that are very easy, that will best explain the button or that will explain the image very well. So this is basically the work. It's not that complex. It's not that complex. If you go through the work very carefully, you understand it.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's it, guys.
So, but we don't know the day we are going to the friends, right?
No, we don't know. By today, we'll know. I think she said she will decide today. Because initially, we were supposed to be the last to present in the last set. Our group supposed to present last, but things will have to change. We don't know how it's going to be today. But if we end up presenting today, good. But if we still doesn't present today, it's still good. So you guys will have enough time to study it.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. So let's just say our things will go today. Lecture is by 2:30, so we still have 3 hours before lecture.
Okay, brother.
All right,
Thank,
guys.
thank you so much.
Okay, that's
You have a nice day.
yeah, you
Hello?
too. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can send the recording to the classroom.
Yeah, the recording, let me stop